All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis, George Kambosis, and Devin Haney. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Man, exciting conversation this morning in this boxing. Been watching the news all day yesterday. Actually took a break off doing videos and live stream just to kind of refresh myself, get myself ready for this great month of boxing we got coming up in April. And one thing I ran into, Devin Haney disrespecting Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's talk about that and the relation to what he said to George Kambosis. But before I do that, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers, long-term subscribers, new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. The channel is growing a lot thanks to you guys who hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you do wager on sports, make sure that you support the channel and take advantage of the partnership that we have with BUSR at busr.ag/Fanon. Use the promotional code Fanon and you will get extra value for your wagering dollar. So let's get into this. Congratulations to Devin Haney, who will be able to fight for the undisputed title against George Kambosis in Australia. We do believe it's June 5th. There are some videos going around saying that George Kambosis has not signed his portion of the contract yet, but I'm just going to assume that he's going to do that, seeing as it is his team that made the offer to Devin Haney, and everybody else is talking about the fight is going to be done. So I'm just going to assume, for the sake of it, that he's going to get that contract signed, and we're going to have a fight for undisputed at 135 pounds in Australia. Now, that said, Devin Haney was asked something about Gervonta Tank Davis. Well, actually, he did two things. One, he retweeted somebody that was disrespecting Gervonta Davis, talking about Gervonta Davis wasn't fighting anybody, this, that, and the fifth. And Devin Haney also was in an interview and said that, asked what he thought about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Gervonta Tank Davis, and Gervonta Davis re-signing with him. And Devin Haney said, yeah, well, it doesn't matter who he signs with. If he's not going to try to fight the top guys, then he needs to go on ahead and just be loyal to Floyd, re-sign with Floyd so he can continue to fight nobody, right? So I thought that was really interesting because, there is, how can I say this? There is this undisputed title. And without a doubt, the undisputed title means a lot in boxing. It is definitely a huge notch on the belt of Devin Haney to become an undisputed champion at 135 if he's able to beat George Kambosis, right? And then you have Gervonta Tank Davis, who is the biggest name at 135 pounds, who is the guy that most people, who has the largest fan base. From my understanding, he's the guy that's making the most money. I think it's safe to say he's the most exciting and probably the most well-skilled, one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled guy in the division, right? So you have over here the accomplishment of getting the belts, and then you have Gervonta Davis, who is really making big fights and who is key to pretty much every big fight that there is at 135 pounds, right? So I see where Devin Haney is coming from, but just to play a little bit devil's advocate here, just because you're winning the belts don't mean you're fighting the best competition. So from my standpoint, Devin Haney has to do a couple things. First, he actually has to beat George Kambosis. Getting the George Kambosis fight is great, but until you actually win the big fights, looking for the biggest fights and calling fighters out and saying that you want the biggest fights isn't an accomplishment in and of itself, right? He definitely wants the fights, right? He wanted to fight Lomachenko, wanted to fight Teofimo Lopez, wants to fight George Kambosis, and now he has the opportunity to fight George Kambosis. But first of all, he's got to actually win that fight. and I do believe he will. And in this particular circumstance, he's got to win that fight twice. Now, is that, however, is it one of the biggest fights at lightweight? I don't really know and think that it is, because George Kambosis, well, it's big in the sense that all the belts are involved. But is it a fight where Devin Haney wins it and then he proves that he's the best at lightweight? I don't think he does, because because George Kambosis, in my opinion, I don't think he's a top 4 lightweight when it comes to, the skill of the skill set and the abilities of George Kambosis. I don't think that he's the number 4 guy in the division. I don't think he's a better fighter than Vasily. I think Vasily Lomachenko will beat him. I think Devin Haney will beat him. I think Gervonta Davis will knock him. I think Gervonta Davis is going to straight knock him out. I'm not too confident about him beating that guy that just got done knocking out Miguel Berchelt, the dude that gave Shakur Stevenson the problems, Jeremiah Nakathila. Not too confident about him beating that guy. Michelle Rivera, I'm not too confident about him beating Michelle Rivera. So when we're talking about the belts, absolutely, that is a big accomplishment for Devin Haney. But as far as beating the best fighters in the division, that will still have to be proven when those guys all get in the ring. Now, as far as Gervonta Davis not wanting those fights, Gervonta Davis has said that he wants those fights. He said that he wants a Vasily Lomachenko. He wants a Vasily Lomachenko fight. He said that he wants the George Kambosis fight. He just is saying about George Kambosis that he doesn't care about the belts. Yeah, come fight me. You can keep those belts. Would love to fight you. And from my understanding, listening to Calvin Ford and listening to Gervonta Davis, that he is pushing and trying to get Mayweather to get them fights. However, it's very difficult to argue against the proposition that Devin Haney's putting out there that Gervonta has not had the big fights at lightweight. However, Gervonta Davis's retort makes a lot of sense to me too, which is that nobody else has either. But I'm telling you though, there is something that is funny out here in the world of boxing, man, and it is called a lot of guys bumping their lips and falling short. Now, Devin Haney, I don't think is somebody that is going to bump his lips and fall short. He goes up there. I think he's a 100% better fighter than George Kambosis, and he should be able to beat George Kambosis no matter where it is. However, it is in Australia, and if Devin Haney is not able to step on the gas on George Kambosis and really make it separate himself from George Kambosis in the sense that he is putting a beating on George Kambosis is taking a beating, then and he's pushing George Kambosis back. He's not allowing George. He's not just moving around in circles and then pot shotting George Kambosis. Because I'm telling you, that type of stuff sometimes doesn't fly. Take, for example, the fight with Conceição versus Oscar Valdez, or the fight with Jack Cottrell versus Josh Taylor. When these guys have home court advantages, sometimes that stuff doesn't fly. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I certainly hope Devin Haney gets past that fight, and then after that, hey man, no doubt about it, have a Gervonta Tank Davis, well, actually you can't have a Gervonta Tank Davis fight, because you're going to have to fight a rematch against George Kambosis, and then after that, I do believe you got a Vasily Lomachenko fight. So it's a lot of stuff separating Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis, and then is Devin Haney going to be able to stay at that weight is another question. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section, and with that, I'm out. Peace.